All right,
Wishing to speak on agenda items must complete a sign-up card prior to the item being introduced. Sign-up cards are available on the table. Individuals wishing to speak on non-agenda items may do so under petitions and requests. No sign-up card is required. Citizens will be given 3 minutes to speak on all agenda items. All sign-up cards and exhibits being submitted to the CRA shall be placed in the box on the table.
The purpose of the City Council meeting is to discuss city business, and proper decorum must be displayed by all in attendance. Public input and participation is encouraged. However, all persons in attendance shall comply with the rules for meeting procedures and shall refrain from any action that disrupts the orderly proceedings of the council meeting or hinders a council from performing its duties. No person shall interfere with the rights of others to speak, hear, see, or attend the proceedings, make threats of violence, disrupt the proceedings with shouting, fail to confine remarks to the agenda item under consideration, nor continue to speak after the allotted speaking time has expired, as these actions shall be considered disruptive and disorderly. The mayor shall caution any person who violates these provisions and disrupts the orderly proceedings of the council meetings, and they shall be directed to comply. Any person who fails to comply, as cautioned, shall be ruled out of order, shall forfeit the remainder of their speaking time on the agenda item under consideration, and will be requested to return to their seat. Persons who fail to comply as directed shall be subject to removal from the council chambers by law enforcement or such other actions as may be reasonably necessary to enforce these regulations. Notwithstanding, the mayor may order the immediate removal of any person from the chambers who possesses a threat to property or life safety. Nothing in this section shall be construed to limit or restrict a person's right created by the Constitution, law, ordinance, or regulation.
November 11, 2025 at 5:30 to order. City Attorney, do we have a quorum? Yes. Thank you very much, City Attorney. We're going to have the invocation. If you would mind, please bow your heads for a moment of silence. Thank you very much. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. Member Nelson.
Move to approve the minutes of the CRA meeting on September 9th, 2025.
Second.
I have a motion and I have a second. Any further discussion from this board? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Mr. Executive Director.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairman, and members of the board. The first item is under old business is the Downtown Directory Maps Annual Business Update. As you recall, back in 2024, CRA established 2 downtown business directory kiosks, one at the Commons and one at the corner of Hopkins and Main Street. And we're in the process of updating the businesses, and our CRA planner will give you an update on the different business changes throughout the year.
Good evening. This is truly a process, which is why the report tells you what the process is. And I know the questions were how many open and how many close. Again, as we say, for the open ones, we can actually run a business tax receipt report. And on that list from September of 24 to September of 25, it indicated 45 new businesses. However, after I culled through them and with the BTR specialists, we noticed that there were some duplicates, and I'll explain that. And I'll explain that one now. For instance, the Goat, one of the new restaurants, they actually received 3 BTRs. They need one for the restaurant, they need one for the alcohol license, and they need one for retail sales. So noticing that there were 5 like that, the hardware store and a couple others, was it Daily Trade? No, this is one that closed. So, it was Roots of Titusville and the Titusville Playhouse. So we minused out those duplicates, and then when you look at the businesses talking about ones that are closed, there really isn't a database or a system to capture that. They don't legally have to tell us, and usually we notice it when they're gone. Or, for instance, the three businesses, the Daily Trade, the Latin restaurant, and sees waffles, when they come in for a new BTR, we then know that they've closed. I did notice that the Coastal Sleepers is closed. That was one that was indicated to me when I was walking around to get the information for the maps. So basically, the answer is 40 opened, and then that I know of 4 closed. But again, that's very difficult to capture. What we have done, though, is that you can find the vacancies in the CRA on our website. So there are 9 vacancies listed. One of them is launched now, which technically that has 6. So technically there's 15, depending if somebody were to go in and rent or lease that space, the entire space of over 9,000 square feet, or if they take a unit. And I'm open for any questions.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sue. I don't see any, Member Stokel surprised me.
No, just a comment, and I appreciate that. I know I talked about this briefly in our one-on-one. While it's not like exact, I think this is good benchmarking for us to know, year over year, how many new businesses are opened and truly how many vacancies we have, because ideally we would have 0. And so now we have a baseline, and so I would just like to see this, year over year, having a report so we can see our progress. So thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
As Facebook would say, data is everything, so we got to have good data so we can make good decisions. I'm not seeing anything else. Executive Director?
Just moving on to 7B is the FDOT safety enhancements. As you recall, the FDOT is planning to resurface US 1 in FY 2029. In the interim, they are proposing to put in some traffic calming and lights and markings, and they're, for informational purposes, they're presenting that information to you, and Sue Williams can answer any questions regarding particulars of their initiative.
I will give you a little bit of background, although most of you are familiar with this. And just to let you know, I will be asking for a recommendation to move forward. Just and I'll give you an update on that. So this all started really back in August of 2024 at the CRA meeting. So we've gone through the process diligently, getting a street pedestrian study, speed study from FDOT, a formal request. Then we did the internal study. Based on those 2 studies, the CRA officially went back to FDOT and said we wanted a formal request for those safety enhancements. So that's one reason when budgeting in this fiscal year that approximately $244,000 was budgeted for safety enhancements. Once we got the notification in October of 2025, so it took a little time, right? That's the new concept that's in your packet that you have seen, okay, with the rapid flashers and the safety enhancements and more of the crosswalks and being indicated. What I was advised of, because I asked, okay, how much is this going to cost? And that's why the CRA was willing to put that money aside. I was informed that at this time, those safety enhancements will not cost the CRA. Now, in fiscal year 2027 and 29, to get the side roads between the north and the south paving of US 1, to have those resurfaced will be $365,000. Fortunately, there's been $244,000 set aside, and we can budget for that. That'll be coming back to you later. What we are requesting from you this evening, and this is a request from FDOT as well, that we would like a formal recommendation from the CRA board to the City Council to approve the new FDOT safety enhancement concept provided. And I'm available for questions.
Maybe point of information for our city attorney. Didn't our city council already approve this concept plan?
I don't recall that a formal action or motion was moved and action taken. I believe that the mayor, you presented this as part of your report, and I believe the consensus from the board was it was agreeable, but no formal action. And I'm understanding that maybe FDOT is wanting, just for to be cautious, some formal action. But I believe it was very supported by the council.
Yeah, they remember what happened in other beachside communities, to be
That's what I've
nameless,
heard.
so. All right. Member Nelson?
So move to approve the FDOT safety enhancement plan.
Second.
I have a motion, I have a second. City Clerk?
There's one card, Stan Johnston.
Stan Johnson, 860 Poinsett Avenue. I'm not, it's nice to hear that there's no cost to the CRA. It's, there's a recommendation for an approval, it sounds like, of a cost of $365,000. And I notice here, it says that no action is requested, so, that's a change. I would think that before council or CRA accepts this, is that they look at this $365,000 expected payment from the city of Titusville and what it includes, rather than just whitewash it. I believe I'm correct in what I say. I think she said $365,000 was going to be city cost.
For fiscal year 29 for repaving, not for safety enhancements.
Okay, well, if that sounds like, I just think you ought to check that. I'm not sure. There must be some kind of possibility of overpayment, underpayment, whatever it might be. So that's all, just a consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. So basically, it's FDOT's road. They can do what they want, but they want our support for these safety enhancements, given the fact that we asked for these safety enhancements. But the key point is they are doing these safety enhancements on their dime. The state is paying for it. 100%.
$365,000.
No, that's, again, $365,000 is for the road repaving. When they come through and repave US 1 and they do our city streets in between Hopkins and Washington. That is something that we are budgeting for long term, as something that's kind of normal processing. If they're already mobilizing and repaving 20 miles, they might as well knock out this 0.1 on the in between, and we pay for that. But in regards to these safety enhancements specifically, even though we requested them, FDOT will be footing the bill to get the job done. In fact, construction is going to begin on November 20th. I received an email yesterday, and they're mobilizing. They had a directive, and I'm very, very appreciative for Secretary Tyler and his leadership to get the job done for us in the city of Titusville.
Thank you.
Any further discussion from council? All right, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Executive Director?
Yes, sir. Moving on to new business. 8A is Community Redevelopment Agency Goals and Objectives. And the requirement is that special districts must establish goals and objectives for each program and activity they undertake by October 1st, 2024. Also required to create performance measures and standards to determine if their goals and objectives are being achieved. And we have a short presentation by our CRA planner to go over those performance measures.
Good evening. And you all will see this once a year. It is a new legislation that was handed down last year at the legislative session, and it'll be moving forward. There was a lot of talk about it then because it was legislated, but the legislation didn't indicate how to do this. So we looked to the FRA for guidance, and we based it upon it. It'll be always tied to your budget. So you'll see that it's tied to the budget this year. This is the legislation on, there's our goal to eradicate blight as identified in the 1982 feasibility study. And then here's the goals and objectives, and these should look very familiar to you. They are our goals and objectives that are listed in our adopted CRA plan of 2022. So based upon this, what is really different that they're saying is that we need to create performance measures and standards, and then also those performance measures and standards to make the determination if we have achieved them or not, or what portion we have. So this is our fiscal year 2026 budget, and so it's a line item to see how much money in and where we've put the funds to utilize for FY 2026. This is really where we measure those performance measures. You can tell the Trail Town amenities, 30,000, grant, 110, infrastructure, safety improvements, 244,000, and Broad Street improvements, 100,000. So now we're going to tie it into the CRA plan. We're indicating what page and what program that the money is allocated for. So again, it's in your plan. And then this is the performance measures. So you can see with the Trail Town amenities, at the end of FY 2026, we will measure the number of trail amenities installed. So it's very clear cut. The CRA grant program, we will list the number of facade and interior grants awarded and the amounts. On the infrastructure, the number of safety-related infrastructure projects completed. And for Broad Street, the percent completion of design and construction phases. This will be listed on our CRA website as legislated with those figures. And this is just another way of saying how we're going to determine the measurements. It's just in word form. And then there is our CA board and where we are and who we are. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Thank you very much, Ms. Sue. Board? Member Stokel?
Sorry, yes. I'm very happy about this legislation because this is what I do day in and day out. And Mayor, I mentioned this too, data. So I like the performance measures. I guess is the plan, so we will submit these. Will they give us feedback on whether or not these are good measures, or how does that work?
No, ma'am. There's been no feedback yet on any
Okay.
of that legislation.
Okay, no, and these are good. I would say, and we don't need to do it this time, other ones that I would like is if the tracking of the new businesses, I think knowing our vacancies and showing, hey, our CRA is working hard to make sure that we have no vacancy, and then these are things we're doing. We're doing the Trail Town amenities. We're doing whatever it is that we're doing to try to keep the grant program. So I'm thinking, okay, our goal is to have, a safe downtown environment, remove blight, as we're saying. And then these are things we're doing. We're providing grants to try to encourage more business in. We're doing safety improvements, lighting, all of these things kind of feed into that. So the new businesses, and then I think there was one other one I was thinking of, but I think that was the main thing. Oh, and I think this is hard to track, and I don't think we can ever, but it would be nice to see, how many people are frequenting our downtown. I don't think that one, I haven't figured that one out yet, but that would be nice thinking, just brainstorming about that. So thank you.
Member Stokel, if I may, I think a way we can get maybe a guesstimate is how many people come through the visitor center.
And that might be a good measure that we use to track.
I mean, it's not going to be all encompassing, but, maybe we can extrapolate a number from there. Because as somebody who goes down there on Saturdays, it is pretty busy. So I don't know who's going to stand there and count people. So I think, yeah. City Clerk?
There's one card on this, Stan Johnston.
Stan Johnston, I'm happy to hear that you're going to be introducing some money on the safety. And it appears that you don't need to spend any more money on this fountain issue at Sandpoint Park and Spaceview Park. I mean, that is, I've complained a number of times with spraying people with sewage, but I understand is that those have been cut off permanently or something like that. Although I think it'd be better if just to, not to turn them off permanently, but to just when there's on a sewage spill. So anyhow, so I don't have any objections to it, and thank you that that it appears that that our two parks, Sandpoint Park and Spaceview Park, are not going to be those places where we're going to spray people with sewage. And I think you're working on the senior center. Thank you.
Thank you. City Clerk, any others?
There's no other cards.
Thank you. Member Nelson?
So I'd move to approve the CRA goals, objectives, and performance measures with, if possible, keeping track of the open and closed businesses, and potentially, if there's a way to do it, keep track of the visitors at the visitor center, if it's possible.
Second.
All right, so I have a motion by Member Nelson and a second by Member Cole, Vice Chair Cole. But I do think they count the number of visitors. They should be able to provide that data to us. Any further discussion from this board? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Appreciate you, Ms. Sue. Executive Director.
Petitions and requests?
All right, so we're at petitions and requests from the public in our CRA meeting, which is Community Redevelopment Agency for the downtown area, before we go into our 6:30 meeting.
Okay.
Mr. Johnson, you have the floor.
Stan Johnston, 860 Poinsettia Avenue. I'm a little bit surprised is that I thought this was supposed to be before old business and new business, but yeah, I guess it's your choice. You can delay it. But anyhow, there's something that said it's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. So this is what I want to happen, and what I'm telling you is because I don't want my wife to find out. So, and if she does, I'm just going to deny it. But okay, so here's what the situation, what you guys have, and is you've got to make decisions. And so, how do you make proper decisions? So I have four ways that some people can make decisions, and one is that if there is a massive majority, to be in the majority vote. That's number one. Number two, I wrote this down just a few minutes ago. To agree with the figures in authority at all times. That's the second possibility. Number three is for me is the man in the house, or the master is the master of the house. That's number three. Number four is the man is the master of the house as long as he does what his wife tells him to do. Actually, there's a fifth one. The fifth one is something like this: is the man is the master of his house as long as he hears what his wife tells him to do. That's the one that I'm. So unfortunately for my wife is that when she talks, I don't always hear what she says. So those are five different ways of making decisions. I'm sure there's other ways, but I want you to consider those when you vote, because there's even some religions that say is that women aren't supposed to make decisions. And I remember when I was in school is that we wouldn't allow black students to become the president of the, not the president, but the quarterback. Couldn't become the quarterback. And if you all remember, is that the Germans said that they were the superior race, and they were very upset with Jesse Owens when he was the fastest. He beat all these Russians. Not Russians, but Germans. So just give that some consideration, and don't tell my wife, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And I'm pretty sure Jesse Owens beat everybody. Anybody else petitions or requests from the public, non-agenda items? Seeing none. Executive Director?
Yes, sir. The last item under Executive Director's report is just a activity listing of items that staff is working on, and it's provided for your information only.
Thank you, Executive Director. CRA Board, any questions, comments, concerns about the Executive Director's report? Seeing none. All right, I guess that
Move to adjourn.
comes to the end of our CRA meeting. All right, I got a motion to adjourn in a second. We're adjourned. We'll see you guys at 6:30 for our regular city council meeting.